While riding the bus home one night, Sakura Sakurakouji sees a boy seemingly burning people to death with blue flames in the park. After she alerts a policeman to come with her to the park, there seems to be no trace of anything having occurred, though Sakura remains adamant in what she saw. The next day at school, a new transfer student is assigned to her class, and it turns out to be the same boy she saw in the park, codebreaker 06 Rei Oogami. Even though she questions him, Oogami is able to provide a sound alibi for his actions, though not convincing Sakura. After school, while lamenting the killing of a homeless man in the park by the G Falcon Street gang, Sakura meets Oogami where they have a talk about what it means to judge the actions of criminals. The next day, while visiting a stray dog in the park, Sakura witnesses the G Falcon gang attacking another person and intervenes. She is able to hold them off with her martial arts until getting stunned with a taser. The dog also tries to protect Sakura, but the gang member is severely injured. Just when Sakura is about to be killed, Oogami shows up and kills the dog, who he deemed was beyond saving, much to Sakura's horror. He then turns to the gang members and presents an ultimatum: turn themselves in or die. They then attack Oogami, choosing the second option. Oogami then uses his power of summoning blue flames to eradicate them all. Oogami then walks up to the shocked Sakura and uses the flames to kill her. Sakura wakes up in her room the following morning after seemingly being killed by Oogami. At school, Sakura grows highly cautious of Oogami despite him acting as if nothing transpired the night before, whilst among their peers. Oogami then follows Sakura around school, which causes her to avoid her friend Aoba Takatsu in an attempt to protect her from Oogami. Elsewhere, Codebreaker 03 Yuki Tentman is given a picture of ex-Codebreaker 01 Hitomi as his opponent. After school, Sakura draws Oogami to a populated city square, where she tries to reason with him about killing those men the night before. However, she still is not able to accept that he can commit such acts without any emotional response. Oogami explains to her the nature of his being as a codebreaker, which is one who passes judgment on evildoers via means that would be considered evil to the rest of the world. Oogami then tries to burn Sakura, who flees from fright. However, he does state that he will kill anyone with whom she confides his secret, causing Sakura to also make sure that he does not kill any more people by keeping an eye on him. Afterwards, Oogami receives a call from a mysterious woman wondering why Sakura is not dead, to which Oogami says that she is a rare person who cannot be burnt. Later, Ikki encounters Hitomi, who has the power of electricity. Ikki attacks Hitomi with sound waves, but is stopped by Recode Agent 04 Yukahine, who has the special ability of controlling ice. Sakura goes to school with Oogami, and finds her locker stuffed with love letters from fellow students. The misunderstanding about Sakura and Oogami's desires to observe each other leads the students to believe they are dating. Jealousy of Oogami with Sakura turns into violence, but Sakura prevents this for fear of Oogami using his powers. While walking to the student council office with Oogami, Sakura runs into Nanine Fujiwara, who fondles Sakura's breasts. Oogami attempts to burn Nanine, mistaking her for somebody else, but is stopped by Sakura. A mysterious boy receives a call to work with Oogami, who later gives Sakura a puppy of the dog that tried to protect her at the park as a gift. Sakura goes with Oogami to a local Yakuza office, where he is offered a job of selling drugs. However, Oogami kills all the Yakuza members and 2 corrupt policemen there instead. Oogami threatens to kill the drug victims, but is stopped by Sakura and gives them a reason to live. Oogami goes to a car waiting outside the Yakuza office with corrupt chief of police Takada inside, but Oogami gives chase when Takada attempts to flee. The mysterious boy from earlier is revealed to be Codebreaker 04 Toki Fujiwara, who blows up the car that Takada was in with his powers of magnetism. Oogami appears before Aiden, the Codebreaker Policy Governance Board, where he is given his next job, to assassinate a politician named Tabata Shigeru. Sakura wakes up in front of her house, and is questioned by her parents about her recent behavior. Sakura lies to them, but her parents choose to overlook this aspect. When she comes outside of her house, she meets Toki, who walks with her to school. However, Oogami suddenly appears, and immediately begins to fight Toki, that is until Sakura stops the two. Sakura and Oogami head to school after Toki leaves. At school, Sakura spots Toki, and she leaves class to find out what he is doing. Upon being discovered by teacher Miyuki Kanto, Toki lies that he is auditing the school, and is allowed to stay. During lunch, it is revealed that Toki's older sister is Nanine, exhibiting similar characteristics. Oogami and Toki later go on a job, and Sakura accidentally ends up tagging along. Oogami reveals Toki's power is that of controlling magnetic fields, and this can move any metallic object. After breaking into a compound housing a government research facility for special abilities and dealing with the normal security guards, Oogami and Toki engage in battle with 2 guards wearing large field backpacks, which allow them to have special abilities of wind and water. During the battle, the 2 guards are forced to retreat when their backpacks suddenly run dry, allowing Oogami and Toki to continue with the mission. Inside the facility, Sakura learns that the codebreakers are a government agency run directly under the command of the Prime Minister. The facility houses kids with special abilities hooked up to machines for close monitoring, in which the lower levels of the facility are used for experiments via dissections, having their organs removed and sold, and their corpses placed in large preservative jars. Tabata is revealed to be the head of the research facility. The two guards return and resume their fight with Oogami and Toki, who both discover that the backpacks each contained a child with special abilities, who each had a younger sibling among the failed experiments. The two children finally rest in peace when Oogami and Toki kill the guards. Just as Oogami is about to kill Tabata, his crippled daughter Chisa Shigeru appears. It turns out that Tabata performs such experiments in order to find suitable transplants for Chisa, who also has special abilities. Sakura tries to convince Oogami not to kill Tabata, but Oogami has no choice but to kill Tabata, who tried to attack him with a scalpel. Chisa passes out after Oogami goads her to take revenge on him in the future, and Toki finds out that Hitomi is the real mastermind behind the research project. The remaining children are transported to another research facility, while Chisa receives medical attention. While Toki has lunch with the Prime Minister, who is actually his father, he is reminded that he became the codebreaker in order to keep his sister Nanine away from his father, in order to protect her. On their way to school, Sakura and Oogami run into Codebreaker 05 Rui Prince Hachinjai, who gives Oogami orders to protect Sakura. At school, the class is acting strangely, which causes Oogami to suspect that Sakura has exposed his secret as a codebreaker. However, it turns out that the class was actually preparing a welcome party for Oogami. At the same time, Toki is seen collapsing in pain in an alley someplace, and the Prime Minister is informed that a total of 43 agents have gone missing in search of Hitomi. Back at the party, the school is attacked by the 43 missing agents, whose dead bodies have been reanimated through the use of Hitomi's power. Oogami momentarily collapses while fighting the dead agents. Kanda arrives to help, revealing herself as an agent of Eden assigned to Oogami. Ikki also appears to assist them in fending off the attack. Codebreaker 02 Masaomi Hike, a classmate of Sakura and Oogami who habitually has tea in the most random of places, joins the fight as well and successfully defeats the agents using light manipulation. Toki is still shown collapsed in the alley, but now in the form of a child. Oogami's collapse causes him to be in his lost form, a state which will last 24 hours due to the overuse of his powers. The symptoms vary for each codebreaker, of which Oogami suffers from hypothermia in his case. Sakura volunteers her house as a secure location for Oogami to recover. When Sakura brings Ikki, Hike, and Kanda there, they are welcomed by her father Sakura Sakurakouji, head of the highly respected Yakuza clan called the Kizakura. After her cosplaying mother Yuki Sakurakouji brings them to the guest house, it is revealed that Toki, who is already there, is in his lost form called age regression, which explains his childlike appearance. While Oogami is resting, the others have a feast together. At night, Hike informs Toki that Hitomi might be targeting both Oogami and Sakura, but has no idea why. The next morning, Rui is ordered to go to Sakura's house to provide support for both Oogami and Toki. When Hitomi raids Sakura's house, in order to kidnap Sakura, the codebreakers do their best to fight back against his electrical attacks. Hitomi then unleashes his full power against them, but Sakura jumps in front of his attack, and is surprisingly unharmed. It turns out that Hitomi's attack was just a decoy to gather all the codebreakers, thus leaving an opening for Yukahina to kidnap the Prime Minister. Ikki's lost form is revealed to be a cat. While the codebreakers discuss what their next plan of action should be, Toki leaves, uninterested in rescuing his father. As the codebreakers continue to discuss their plan, none except Oogami have the convictions to kill their former leader. Toki goes to Nanine, who seems to remember him, but she suddenly reverts to her old self, unaware of who Toki is. While the Kizakura members who were injured during Hitomi's attack are being tended to their wounds, Sakura finds Oogami looking at her family photo album. Oogami is explained that Mtoku and Yuki adopted Sakura as a child, after finding her outside on their doorstep one night with blood splattered all over her. Meanwhile, Ikki and Rui reminisce about when Hitomi used to be good. When Toki returns, Sakura and the other codebreakers head out in search of Hitomi and the Prime Minister. At school, Kanda meets with several other faculty members, all of whom work for Eden as codebreaker supporters. Since Kanda is a former subordinate of Hitomi, the plan is for her to use any possible remaining trust to kill Hitomi. After Rui meets with Hike at a bridge, he attacks her for figuring out that he is a part of Hitomi's scheme. Ikki, as Rui tries to keep the bridge from collapsing, witnesses Hike attack her from afar. Hike then appears to Sakura and tricks her into following him, leading her directly to Hitomi's hideout with the Prime Minister taken hostage. Hike exchanges her as a gesture of goodwill in order to join sides with Hitomi. While all the codebreakers receive anonymous messages detailing Hitomi's location, Hitomi tells Sakura to sit back and wait for the plan to commence, but Sakura becomes angered when Hike mentions that he reduced Rui to a bloody mess. Ikki informs Oogami of Hike's betrayal, and the two proceed to Hitomi's hideout together. While Ikki holds off Hike, Oogami proceeds to confront Hitomi and rescue Sakura. However, Oogami is stopped by Kanda, who is under Hitomi's electrical control, yet Sakura eventually prevents Oogami from killing Kanda. Hitomi shows his claw collection on the wall, each stopped at a time, when a former codebreaker was killed. Hitomi plans to execute the Prime Minister, but he first bombs the city full of civilians as a spectacle of exposing codebreakers, in order to recognize them as great heroes, rather than dangerous outcasts. Oogami disagrees with this cause and burns all the clocks, but as Oogami proceeds to attack Hitomi, Yukihina arrives and intervenes, taking the Prime Minister with him. Although Oogami is unable to do anything since his flames cannot melt Yukihina's ice, Toki arrives just in time to save Oogami and Sakura from a barrage of ice. The hideout begins to collapse and everyone leaves. However, Sakura enters the car with Hitomi, Hike, and Yukihina inside, hoping to prevent them from killing the Prime Minister. When Hitomi was 16 years old, he was inaugurated as Codebreaker 06, and due to his excellence at his job, he was considered a promotion. Hike was revealed as his senior at that time. 4 years later, Hitomi's unnamed partner, Codebreaker 05 at the time, was killed during an operation, and it is shown that his watch stopped working the moment he died. Hike promoted Hitomi as the new Codebreaker 05, but Hitomi was greatly troubled by his partner's death. 6 years later, being assigned to take out a terrorist coup of supernaturals, Hitomi, as Codebreaker 03, is distraught when the rest of his group except Hitomi died during the mission, and only the leader rogue supernatural managed to escape. Hitomi, explaining to Hike that Codebreaker 06 at that time was killed by her own powers, requested him to investigate upon the matter. With Hitomi promoted to Codebreaker 01, he was tasked to train the recruited codebreakers, Ikki, Toki, Rui, and Oogami, initiating them as codebreakers after their individual training sessions. However, Hitomi took concern for Oogami's primary focus of eliminating evil without thought of any consequences. During a rescue mission with Oogami and Toki, Hitomi is seen carrying a child, which was the real objective of the rescue mission. Hitomi later told Oogami that their purpose should be protecting the powerless, and not simply killing the wicked. On another job with the other codebreakers, Hitomi finally killed the leader rogue supernatural to avenge the deaths of his former comrades. Hike later informed Hitomi that the codebreakers could die if they overused their own powers numerous times, which was something Eden had kept them from knowing. Although Hitomi failed to reveal this to Oogami, he silently vowed to get revenge on Eden. In the present, Hitomi announces to the public on Sky Tower that he will kill the Prime Minister and 50,000 other civilians across Japan. The codebreakers continue to search for Hitomi, but are unsuccessful. As bombs continue to detonate throughout Japan, the codebreakers, the Japanese government and the Kizakura all receive anonymous emails detailing the locations of the bombs and Hitomi being found at Sky Tower. Toki and Kanda set off to Sky Tower, while Ikki goes out to search for and disable as many bombs as he can. Oogami arrives at Sky Tower first to rescue Sakura, but Hitomi catches him and engages him in an intense battle. Oogami's blue's flames are overwhelmed by Hitomi's electricity as a result. As Sakura manages to free herself, Hitomi reveals to them that the Prime Minister attempted to have Hitomi killed in order to prevent him from exposing the codebreakers. Hitomi then states his desire to make a world where people with special abilities can live happy lives freely, not as government dogs. Toki and Kanda are stopped by Hike, who faces Toki in a fierce duel. The Japan government and the Kizakura begin to isolate locations with bombs, however they are short on personnel. Yukihina proceeds to rescue all children with special abilities in the research facility, only 2 by met by Rui, revealed to still be alive. Toki stands on the roof of Sky Tower, where the Prime Minister is held captive with 20 minutes remaining. While fighting Yukihina, Rui vows to save the children from the research facility. Meanwhile, Hitomi reveals to Oogami, who is standing on the brink of defeat, that the people that Oogami has killed thus far were ones that had helped Hitomi in one way or another. Oogami denies Hitomi's offer to join him, promising to protect the innocent until the very end. However, Oogami goes into his lost form when he tries to attack Hitomi once more, but Sakura tries to protect him from Hitomi, who grabs her by the throat. Elsewhere, Doku and some Kizakura members approach a van broadcasting the signal for detonating bombs, but 2 boys with special abilities exit the van and begin attacking the group. As the timer reaches to 0, no detonation occurs. This is because Ikki found and destroyed the van, thanks to Hike, who also told Ikki where the research facility housing the children is located. Ikki arrives to help Rui, but Yukihina flees. Hai confronts Hitomi, believing that the plan has been dismantled. However, Hitomi reveals that he chose Sky Tower as a last resort, in order to use his powers to detonate all the bombs throughout Japan. Toki finally rescues his father, after threatening to kill him. Just as Hitomi is about to play his final trump card, Sky Tower is covered in Rui's shadow ability, and the rest of the codebreakers arrive to stop Hitomi, who continues to rationalize his cause. Oogami then re-enters the fight, removing his thumb ring, which causes his power to rise exponentially. After a quick flashback of when Oogami had his first training session with Hitomi, Ogami's blue flames easily absorbs Hitomi's strongest electricity blasts, resulting both of them to collapse. Hitomi is reaching his code end as his own powers begin to attack him. Hitomi, still wanting to continue his plan, is beaten back by Oogami. As he lies defeated, and says his last words to all the codebreakers, Hitomi encourages them to make themselves public as the ones who defeated him and his plot. However, the Prime Minister appears and says otherwise, which enrages Hitomi. The codebreakers manages to stop him from killing the Prime Minister, and Hitomi finally reaches his code end, and dies in the arms of Oogami, who leaves after justifying that Hitomi got what he deserved. Toki overhears the public crediting the police department for disabling the bombs and killing Hitomi. Later, Hike and the Prime Minister discuss that they succeeded in having Oogami battle Hitomi to draw out his true power, which they are curious if this power will fare against the Seki. They would use Sakura to be with Oogami to extinguish his flames if ever he goes out of control. The Prime Minister coughs up blood when electrical spark shocks his body. Sakura individually says farewell to Iki, Rui, and Toki, who each are assigned missions of their own, mentioning that Oogami has already left as well. As Sakura returns to her normal life, Oogami goes on a mission with Kanda at an airport, battling a man with the special ability of wind. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more if you enjoyed.